trying to get a
Gentle beats.
How you think you Aboriginal when you look just like an African? Call them out for a debate. Pick the video and then I laugh at them. Many niggas ain't even know shit. I kept trying to get this nigga to shut my screen, he wouldn't even show this shit. Then they keep trying to play the straw man like they ain't noticing. But he out here blind as hell, but he talking about his eyes open. He think he really doing something, whole time I ain't even going. I told him come on and show that screen, like Apple, you pump fake. Call him Chinky, he don't even pop out, cheap holiday in. Like he started something, but he can't even defend. After Apple's looking at you like shit, what you on? How you gon' let cost money like he take the decoy phone? So he say fuck the Apple doctrine, man, he can't stand up. He say fuck that look of shit, my nigga, he said nothing. Hey, you better quit lying on granny nigga shit, he tell you that shit. How you got open smoke panel when you known for ducking fades? How you think you Aboriginal when you look just like an African? Call them out for a debate. Pick the video and then I laugh at them. Many niggas ain't even know shit. I kept trying to get this nigga to shut my screen, he wouldn't even show this shit. Then they keep trying to play the straw man like they ain't noticing. But he out here blind as hell, but he talking about his eyes open. He think he really doing something, whole time I ain't even going. I told him come on and show that screen, like Apple, you pump fake. I told him come on and show that screen, like Apple, you pump fake. How you got open smoke panel when you known for ducking fades?
Culture freedom. I just met these ladies out here in the park randomly. How many of y'all ever heard y'all had Indian in your family?
Absolutely.
Everybody heard that before, right? Who? Where did you hear it from? Who was the person I told you?
Our grandmother.
Once again, thank you very much, lady. I appreciate it.
All right.
Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Hey yo, these apples think they it, but they not. Every time I look around, they be on TikTok. Every time I look around, they saying something pseudo, knowing it's a lie, acting like it's really true though. Harriet Tubman's real, Nat Turner is a hero. I'ma keep it a buck. Dan Calloway's a weirdo. I'ma keep it a buck. Caremio is too. The research lie, he could never tell the truth. That coward A1, he's a miss no more. Just give me a shot, I can miss no more. Just give me the rock, it's a must. I score. These apples need to see a doctor, it's for sure. Hey, Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Hey yo, these apples think they real, but they fake. Always on YouTube, we could never get a break. All they do is cherry pick, die at their own sources. Pick the copper color, but not the hair of the horses. And DNA is not real, it's only for entertainment purposes. Can't believe how many times I heard this shit. Can't believe how many times I heard the same shit. Asking for the slave ships. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said I'm not an African. Grandma said I'm an Indian. Grandma said, how many times Grandma said we got Indian in us? It's a legend. It's a family legend. Grandma said we had Indian in us. Grandma ain't say we was Indian though. Stop taking Grandma out of context, man. Stop lying on Granny, man. Cause Grandma ain't say shit, man. You said it, man. You said it, man. Stop lying on Grandma. Grandma said
Now everybody in the world know the Aboriginals can't fight. I'm just gonna. Now everybody in the world know the Aboriginals can't fight. Now everybody in the world know the Aboriginals can't fight. Now everybody in the world know the Aboriginals can't fight. I'm just gonna keep it real. Everybody know the Aboriginals ain't got nothing for themselves. We're gonna keep this shit real. If you're an Aboriginal, man, I hate to be the one to break it to you.
Damn.
But nigga, you ain't never saw no Aboriginal war, nigga. Name it. Send me a video with a timestamp. You ain't never seen no Aboriginal war, and they won a successful military only when they fought with us last year.
So he's saying they over. Yo, he said they got no lead.
I didn't know he was going hard like that on them.
Oh,
he said they ain't got no wins, and the only time they did win was when they linked up with them. You heard him say that?
Look, shit. Look, hold on. Get your shit off. Top. Get your shit off.
Get your shit off.
Seen no Aboriginal war, and they won a successful military only when they fought with us last year. And they didn't even win out of them phase.
Nah, this is classic, y'all. This is classic. This is classic, right?
Yeah, I think
let's smoke signal go.
Yeah, let's get some. I want to keep playing this, but let's get an Aboriginal up here for this, man.
Yo, the link is pinned, y'all. I need.
Now, the coincidence is a major factor in this community, and people don't even know it. Goofy motherfuckers.
Peace, everybody. How I sound? Mic check 1 2 1 2. I thought I was off mute. I'm on mute the whole time. Peace to everybody in the chat. Appreciate y'all for pulling up. Need y'all to do me a favor, share and like the video. Let's get this video out there. I ain't gonna wait too long. I'm gonna get right to it. So, as you can see, you ain't probably hear about no debates happening. That debate league flunked. Why? Because it's built on bias in the first place, right? So, Ab Power, he calls himself, he says he's the #1 debater. All this shit. But I haven't seen him have a good debate yet. Not one. One of the Aboriginal debate tactics is to avoid the title, avoid the topic. Just like this debate that me and him had. The title of the debate was white people enslaved in America? Did Negro and Indians own them? So he tried to skip over providing the evidence if Negroes and Indians owned white slaves in America. We all know there is no evidence for that because it did not happen. That's just it. It did not happen. Right? We used to think that, I used to think that these dudes were just misconfused. They was taking things out of context, but accidentally on a more of a, they just slow. That's why they was doing it. But no, they're really just liars. And Aboriginal Power is one of the biggest liars out there. Right? That's why he stays on his panel or goes to panels he can control, like Smoke Signal panel, because he got the keys over there too. So he's just straight scary. He been ducking Sean P for the longest. right? We had a debate set up for that. He lied and said that he told us he was going to reschedule. The time that he did reschedule, he was supposed to be there that night, didn't come. Waited a week, 2 weeks, nothing happens. That's why Sean been on his heels so much, right? Because he's just a liar. He's running. So me and him had this debate on his channel. This is probably like a year and a half ago. This is a while. But you know me, I like to go over the information. I don't really talk about people. I talk about the information. So we're gonna go over his first round, and I'm just gonna show his rounds. I'm not even gonna show my rounds because he was supposed to prove it. He's supposed to prove he's pro, and I'm against. So I'm against blacks and Indians on white people. He's for it. So let's see what he's talking about.
Brother, I know you was initially supposed to be moderating. So
Salute.
we're going into the top of round one. If you want to set the time.
All right. 10 minutes.
Yes, sir. 10 minutes.
All right. Just whenever you start, just let me know, man.
All right, no problem. I'm ready to go right now. Let's go.
All right. You going.
All right, let's get it. All right, so the first little bit that I'm going to be breaking down is the etymology of the word Slav. Right, it said one of the people who inhabited most of East Europe. That's late 14th century, from medieval Latin, shortened into Proto-Slavic, right? A Slav, which is probably related to Slavo word speech, which suggests the name originally identified a member of a speech community, right? So it's letting you know who it belongs to, the people who occupied most of Europe, right? And when you get into contemporary data from university studies dealing with the word Slav, which is what I'm about to pull up right now, I'm gonna pull up a Philadelphia State University study, and we're gonna get to that right now. All right, and the word slave. So what it gets into is that the word derives the word slave and captures a bit of European history to explain why.
Just him starting like this is terrible, right? You know, we know this is called the etymological fallacy, but look, what's his source? Where's he getting it from? Right? I don't know why he didn't just pull up the I don't know why he didn't just. I got you, Melanated. I don't know why he just didn't go to etymology.com, right, and just show it from there. I guess he tried to do something slick, but it's coming from Wiki. All right, so let's see. Just listen to how he tries to manipulate this, and we're gonna go over what an etymological fallacy is also.
The two words Slav and slave are similar. They are, in fact, historically identical. The word Slav first appears in English around 1290, right? Spelled Sklav, right? The spelling based on Old French Slav and medieval Slav is first recorded around 800, which comes from the Byzantine Greek, which appears around 500, right? The name was then adopted by the Slavs or the English Slavonian or Slovene, right? The spelling of the English slave closer to the original Slavic form, which appears in English in the 1500s. Slavs become slaves around the beginning of the 1900s, beginning of the Holy Roman Empire. And this, so now we're getting into the origins of these words Slav. And so now we have a clear understanding of who.
Do we really have a clear understanding? Do we? I don't think so. But what is he doing wrong, right? Let's go here, right? So etymological fallacy. Description: the assumption that the present day meaning of a word should be slash is similar to the historical meaning. So he wants to run back to the word originates with these Slavic people. This fallacy ignores the evolution of language and heart of linguistics. This fallacy is usually committed when one finds the historical meaning of a word more palatable or conducive to his or her argument. This is more specific form to appeal to definition. So it's palatable to his argument because he wants to say, whenever you see the word slave, that means white people. When that's not what it means, because if he would have just went to online etymology dictionary, it says circa 1300, a slave, person who is the chattel or property of another. That kills it right there. That's not about ethnicity, right? This is about a state of a person's condition. So since the 13th century, slave didn't mean a Slavic person, as he tries to go into. Right. And remember, this debate is about did black people own white slaves in America? That's what the debate is about. And even when we go to the etymological dictionary, the etymology of slave, it tells us that these white people who were these Slavic people who were slaves, says he filled the slave markets of Europe, Asia, and Africa. See, now I beat A1 up on this several times for using this because it doesn't say anything about America. It doesn't say one thing about America or these Slavic people being enslaved in America. So again, he's supposed to be proving black people own white slaves. So this is him trying to set the tempo that anytime you see the word slave, they're talking about white people. That's just terrible thinking. That has no logic, nothing to it. But let's go.
These people is. All right. So let's get straight into it, you guys. We don't want to waste any time. Let's pull up the next article. Let's pull up the next one. So we're going to go into early white slavery in America. According to Byron Davis, reading in the New York Review of Books, right? October 11, 1990, page 37, it states, as late as the 14th and the 15th centuries, continuing shipments of white slaves, some of the Christians flawed from the booming slave markets, right? So off the rip, we already got the documents and people referring to white people as slaves in the Americas, right?
So he's calling this book a document. How is this a document? Right? The book is they were white and they were slaves. This is the book he's reading from. They were white and they were slaves by Michael A. Hoffman. How is this a document? And where are the black slave owners in this book? Right? This book is trying to exploit the conditions. This book is trying to exploit the conditions of white indentured servants. But let's go back to the video. So that already adds in that Africans were enslaved in America. But again, you can't hear me? Again, what does that have to do with black people owning white slaves? Nothing, right? They're calling these people slaves, but they was really indentured servants. Like Ditto said, look, Hoffman has been described as a Holocaust denier and anti-Semitic ideologue, right? So He can't even be trusted. No, Nate, can you hear me? Oh, all right. So why is he using this book as damn? Why is he using this book as the source instead of going to it? Right? He's reading. It says the English Parliament debated the practice of selling whites into slavery in the New World. Why he didn't go get the source? Parliamentary Diary, 1656 to 59. Because it still defeats the point. They're not talking about black slave owners. Shout out to everybody that's pulling up. Right? Share like the video for me, y'all. Still, we are a couple minutes into his round, and we have not seen one black person owning a white slave. Not one. Before he reads this, just ask yourself why he's reading this. Is he showing you black people owning white slaves? Y'all can't hear the video? Y'all don't hear the video? Let me know. Somebody said they can't hear the video. Let me see.
It said in the summer of 2003, archaeologists excavated a 17th century site outside of Minneapolis.
Still can't hear it? Hold on, y'all. I don't know why my computer tweaking. Let me know if you can hear it now.
Maryland, and discovered a skeleton of a teenage boy. Examination showed that the boy had died sometimes in the 1600s. He had been 16 years old, had tuberculosis. His skull showed evidence of fearful mouth infection, and a herniated disc and other injuries to his back were synonymous with years of hard toil. Toil is synonymous with slavery.
So I have seen toil being synonymous with slavery. Still, where's the black slave owner, right? We're talking about in the 1600s. Yeah, exactly, Melanie. What are you talking about? He talking about some white worker, some young boy who was doing a lot of physical labor. Everybody was doing physical labor back then. We didn't have machines to do the work. So it's rough out there. But again, that doesn't make him a slave.
The youth was neither African nor Native American. He was Northern European, probably English. His remains were found in what to be a 17th century cellar house and behind the house, in the hole under a pit of household waste. It was if the boy had little account for, and he died, and he was thrown out with the rubbish. This is according to anthropologists. So the forensic anthropologists believe that the youth was probably an indentured servant, right? The deceptively mild label commonly used.
You heard him. You heard what it said. It said probably an indentured servant. Now, BAP knows there's a difference between servants and slaves. I had a whole debate about that with Hall School and won on his channel, on Aboriginal Panel's channel, Powers channel, about that topic. Is slave and indentured servant the same thing? No, it's not the same thing. There was different rules. You was a different class of people, different rights. You know, slave had no rights. Like, for example, 1669, they had a Casual Killing Act, which specifically says that if you kill your Negro slave in the act of correcting him, you won't be held accountable, because we know that nobody would destroy their property on purpose. Right? That's what the law says. Now, on the indentured servant side, if you want to correct your indentured servant and say you wanted to inflict some, we're not just talking about a pop or a slap. We're talking about, actual disciplinary tactics, like tying you to a whipping pole or even beating them with a whip. They had to go down to the courthouse and get permission from the court just to put their hands on these indentured servants. So how is it the same? It's not the same.
To describe hundreds of white men and women that were shipped from Britain, from America into the Caribbean in about 150 years before the Boston Tea Party of 1773. Most of these servants paid their passengers to the Americas by selling their rights and be the labor of numbers for years. Although forcefully exiled and sold to colonies as servants up to 14 years, many were effectively enslaved. Okay? So most of these people were indefinitely enslaved. Okay? So this is what we have to understand when we're dealing with the history of the peoples here in America. It said Britain sold tons of people here. You see what I'm saying? And we want to get into some of the history of what they was talking about when they sold these people.
Is he ever going to get to the history? He's been through about 4 or 5 what he calls sources, and we still haven't seen one black slave owner owning one white slave. Not one. Wasting all this good people's time. And he actually sold tickets for this debate. All right, we had a pretty good turnout. And if I was a Aboriginal, I would be disappointed. I would think I would be coming to this to see, names, places, dates, contracts, bills of sale, wills, all types of things. That he provided nothing. Willie, that's Aboriginal Power. So to catch everybody up who just came here, me and Aboriginal Power had a debate maybe a year and a half ago. But the question is, can you win a debate by avoiding the topic? The topic is, was white people enslaved in America by blacks and Indians? He's supposed to be providing evidence for that. He ain't doing none of that.
Into the Virginia colonies. So let me pull up my next article. Shout out to everybody in the building. It's already over with. It's already talking about white slaves that fall into cultivation in 1613 of an acceptable tobacco crop in Virginia. The need for labor accelerated. Slavery was viewed as the cheapest and the most expanded way to provide a necessary workforce. Due to harsh conditions, beating, starvation, disease, survival rates for slaves rarely exceeded 2 years. Thus, in the high of the demand sustained by the contemporary flows of white slaves from England, Ireland, Scotland, from 1618 to 1775, who were imported to the American colony, to the American colonial masters.
So he's actually calling this a source. Like it's not just right. So this is the source he's using. That's the source he's using. Let me see if I can zoom on. Right? This isn't a primary source. This isn't none of that. It's from the Conveyors League, representing Europeans in all countries across the globe. This is what this Aboriginal is using, right? I think I brought this up in the rebuttal. Yeah. Right? Britain's 300,000 white slaves in America. The Forgotten History of Britain's 300,000 White Slaves in America, White Cargo book review, right? By this girl, lady Jeanette, or whatever. But let's see if we can track her down. So when I click that, it goes here. And we can't get to it. I actually showed it in the debate. It went to like a music link or some shit before. Right? It was shared to Facebook, shared to Twitter. Like, this is where it's at. It's not in any academic settings. It's just a review on a book, The White Cargo. Right? But this kills them right here. Slavery in America typically associated with blacks from Africa, which means that was happening. But they're trying to tell this other story of indentured servants was really slaves. It doesn't make sense. And I don't even know why he would attach himself to that. Right? It's not a source. I don't even know what he calls himself doing. Look at what he says. No, you can't win if you can't provide proof of that for that topic. Exactly. Share like the video, y'all. Share like the video.
So already it's talking about white slaves from England, Ireland, Scotland. It's documented. It's documented that white people was forced and went through more toil than alleged Africans went through. They was beat to death. They was threw out with the rubbish. Even while the records show that.
Yeah, even if all that was true, and we know it wasn't, because I told you there was laws against that. You can look in the 1705 slave code. In the Virginia slave code, you see there's laws against that. But even if all that was possible, where's the black slave owners? Where's the names? What plantation was they on? Where's the ships of them coming in? Right? Where's the ads for these white slaves? We see ads for Negro slaves all the time. We don't see ads for white slaves. Let me see what we got. It's like this. 1806, Gold Coast Negroes. Gold Coast Negroes. We all know what the Gold Coast is. Right? Prime Mandingos. We know that's not white people, right? Or they trying to say Mandingos is the white people, right? They have no sources. Prime, Congo, and Gullah Negro. Congo Negroes for sale. Come on, man. Where's the white people for sale? And where are the black people owning them? We cannot leave that out. I don't care if he could provide white slaves. Where is the white people? Where's the black people that own them, like he claims? But this is what they do in all their debates. Every last one of them, they never can prove a topic, ever. Especially Ab Power, especially A1. None of these so-called teachers.
That so-called black slave was treated as if they wasn't even slaves. But yet, we're not even supposed to be finding no records of slaves at all. Yet alone in 1618, a whole 1 year before the first African slaves allegedly came. You got England slaves, Ireland slaves, Scotland slaves being imported to the the colonies in Virginia in 1618. Okay? And yes, Negroes and Indians are synonymous, and those people owned slaves as well. Who you think was the colonial masters? Okay, so let's get into this. These whites in the New World consisted of street children, plucked from London's black back alley, prostitutes, and impoverished migrants, searching for a brighter future and willing to sign up for indentured servitude. So the indentured servitude was a program that they had told them about over there. And this is under Oliver Cromwell, and why he's trying to build up his economy, right? He's trying to build up his economy. He's labeling it as a program. The only person that's going to receive any benefits is the people that's running that government. These people didn't receive anything. And when they came here, they was not referred to as indentured servant, even though that's what they signed up for. What they came into, slavery. Okay. How do I know? Because it said around 1618, at the start of their colonial slave trade, the English began to seize in the shipping of Virginia impoverished children, even toddlers from London slums. From impoverished parents sought they
time, bro. Time.
All right, let's go.
Time. Give me a minute.
Let's go.
Nice round, man. I don't know how exactly A1 was conducting the moderation, but I'm gonna let you have it.
Jack, I'm back.
All right,
I'm back. 10-minute rounds. That's how we doing. It's not a coincidence time. He's up the bat. If you want to set the time, go ahead and set it. If not, I'll do it.
All right, I got it ready. If
So we seen a whole round, right? Look what Melanator said. We seen a whole round, no evidence. How he making up definitions? He didn't show where Negroes and Indians was synonymous. No, he didn't do that. He didn't give us any slave owners. So that should automatically be a round down for him. Did we even get a name of one slave? No. He gave us some books that kind of talked about it, but there was more insinuated that these indentured servants were treated like slaves. Let me see if I can. Let's go to the second round. My bad, y'all. Let's see.
Back to it.
This is the second round. Let's see if we can get some
All right, let's go back
to white slaves. Like Ditto said, what he said? He said, "Nah, he didn't read the book. He is cherry picking like mad hell. A page or two after he was reading, it counts as his own point." Yeah, absolutely. That's usually what happens with them.
To it.
Damn,
all right, let's get it.
All right.
Yep. Get your time ready. So, like I said, he have failed to show you any records where white people was not slaves, where they was not referred to as slaves. There's unaccountable records, right? We're gonna get into Dr. Harley.
So Willie, he insinuated that. That's what happened. He didn't get that from anywhere. He read a couple lines how it was rough for them, and he just insinuated it. Let's get back to it.
MacD Beckles of University of Hull, England, writes regarding white slave labor and indentured contracts were inalienable, the ownership of which one could easily be transferred, like that of the other commodity. As with slaves, ownership changed without the participation in the dialogue, consideration transfer. Beckles referred to indentured servants as white proto-slaves. The Americans, volume 41. You can look on page. I mean, that's American page. I mean, America's volume. I mean, the Americas volume 41, number 2, page 21 is where that is referred to it.
Did we get a black slave owner? Anybody? No, we didn't. Not one.
All right. And it said in the calendars of the state papers, colonial series, America in the West Indies of 1701, it read, protesters over the encouragement of the spiriting away of English without the consent of selling them for slaves, which had been a practice very frequent and known by the name of kidnapping, emphasis added. Okay. In the British West Indies, plantation slavery was instituted as early as 1627. In Barbados by the 1640s. Excuse me. There was an estimate of 25,000 slaves in the island.
Shout out to Chris MVP Harris for the Cash App donation. Appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate that. So where we at? Yeah. Still waiting for him to hit the topic. And Will Phil said, can you win a debate by avoiding the topic? So it depends on what you mean by win. Well, what I mean by win is at the end of the debate, there was a vote. And he won. I think he got like 56% of the votes. I got 46 or something, whatever. Yeah, 40. I think I had 46%. So he had 54%. And that's how he won. So they voted, he won. Meanwhile, he didn't provide any evidence as we're watching. We don't see no black people owning white slaves or Indians for that fact, or blacks and Indians being the same.
Whom 21,700 of them were white. All right. So I don't know what kind of agent stuff these guys do by trying to deny the fact that white people were enslaved here. And we know the demographic of the indigenous peoples who was occupying and running these areas in Barbados, right? We know that the slave laborers in these particular areas go all the way back to 1616.
And we know that, yes, indentured servants were used in these islands, but they wasn't owned by black people, and they wasn't enslaved. So where's he getting this shit from? Where is he getting this from? That's what we want to know. Shout out to Melanated Goddess for the Cash App. Appreciate that, sis. Appreciate that. Appreciate Chris also. Like I said, he donated, but he's sending y'all a message. He said, hey, everyone said donate at least $2. You know, I don't be asking for nothing, but it's all appreciated. I'll tell you that. So let's get back to it.
Debated that, like according to Elizabeth Dunning, documents illustrated of the history of the slave trade to America, page 125 to 126, it says of the fact that the wealth of Barbados was founded off the backs of white slave labor. There can be no doubt that white slave labor from Britain and Ireland was the mainstay of the sugar colony until the 1640s.
So as I'm sitting here listening to us watching this, right? While I'm listening to this, why isn't he going to find? Right, we can find white slave owners that wrote books. We can find black people who's enslaved that wrote books. Why we can't find a black slave owner who owned white slaves that owned a book, that wrote a book, or the enslaved person writing the book, the white enslaved person writing a book about his time in slavery? None. If this was what it really was, and it's really in reverse, and there was no black slaves, they was all white, you mean none of them wrote about it? None of them. At a time when everybody was writing, especially in the 1800s, nobody. That just doesn't make any sense. Absolutely, Melanated. He adds a lot to his sources. He cherry picks like a mug. That's a fact. That's what they do. Old dog, peace, peace, peace. Let's get back to it. Once again, appreciate Melanated Goddess and Chris MVP Harris for the donation. Let's go.
They were few blacks in Barbados, right, doing the Downing Road to the John Winthrop and the colonial government of Massachusetts in 1645. The planters who waited to make the fortune in the British West Indies must procure white slave labor out of England. If they wanted to succeed, you see what I'm saying, they would have to bring these people out of England for cheap, the slaves out of England to succeed into the economic gain. And that's according to, like I said, Elizabeth Donning. Right. So I don't know where he going.
So I know this has to be greatly misquoted because in his book he misquotes a lot. But Elizabeth Dunham has extensive volumes on the slave trade in America. And she documents Africans being brought here. Let me see if I can find her book. Documents of Discovery. That's what it is. Documents illustrative of the slave trade. Hold on. I think it's about 4 volumes. Yeah, here it is. So this is Elizabeth Dunning's book. It's about 4 volumes. She documents the slave trade to America from Africa. So, like I said, it's 4 volumes. This is what he does a lot. And we can see he doesn't list what volume book it is. Right? I can hunt it down and see. I just look on each 4 volumes, 125 and 126. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't say that. That's why he doesn't list the volume.
Where it wasn't white slaves in America, said, listen, according to English William Edis, after observing white slaves in America in 1770s, he wrote, generally speaking, they groaned beneath a worse than Egyptian bondage. This is Letters from America, London, 1792. Governor Sharp of the Maryland colony compared the property interest to the planters and their white slaves with the estate of an English farmer consisting of multitude of cattle. So they was referring to white slaves as cattle, sometimes as merchandise, as freight.
Where are the black slaves owners? Where's the black people that own them? Right? So Michael Hoffman, he just replaced the word indentured servant or servant with slave. None of the sources say that. Again, we're looking for the black people who own white slaves. Did Aboriginal power give us that? Have we got it yet? I don't think so. I haven't seen it. Did I miss it? I don't think I missed it because I've been paying attention. This is terrible, Bat. This is terrible. You're supposed to be a leader over there and you ain't coming through. I know you're out there watching somewhere. I tagged you in the video, but you don't come outside. Right? So, again, we're looking for these black slave owners that he supposedly proved own white people.
This is what the documented record says. All right. According to Quack Walker case in Massachusetts in 1783, which ruled that slavery was contrary to the state constitution, was applied equally to blacks and whites. This is a state law. This is a case law of Massachusetts of 1783. This law that nobody could own a Christian or a white slave. That was only in Virginia. Slavery wasn't limited to Virginia. Them laws doesn't apply everywhere else, and we're gonna prove that white people were enslaved all the way up to the 1800s as well. Okay, let's get into it. The disciplinary and revenue laws of early Virginia Circuit Court, right, 1631, 1645, did not discriminate Negroes in bondage from whites in bondage. That's according to William Henning, editor, Statutes at Large of Virginia, volume 1, page 174. You find reference. 198, you find reference. On page 200, you find reference. On page 243, you find reference. And page 306, you find reference. The records of the wills in which lands, goods, chattel, cattle, money, Negroes, English servant, horses, sheep, household stuff were all sold together. You can go see the Lancaster County records in the Virginia Colonial Abstract at Beverly Fleet, the editor. Okay, so I don't know why are they denying the fact that white people were enslaved in America? We're gonna move on to another source right quick. Like, I don't understand what is going on. I don't understand what is going on. You know?
I'm gonna mute my bad. Desmond says, sounds like he's trying to say since there are white slaves, the Abos had to be the masters because they supposedly were in charge. Black slave masters is the default in their alternative history. That's exactly what they're doing. Just like he started off his debate with the etymology of slave, trying to make it seem like because the word slave comes from the Slavic people being enslaved, that means anytime you see a slave, anytime you see the word slave, they are white people. And that just doesn't work like that. Because even when we go to the etymology of slave, we see since the 1300s it was used for somebody who's a property of somebody else. Right? So we know he's just all off making it up. And we still haven't seen one black slave owner.
You understand what I'm saying? It said Emmett asserted, and this is from English servants, and this is not talking about English servants. The servitude program that is going on in London. That's what they calling it, so they can create this economic revenue to build up the low economy that's going on in London, in England, in various different places. Soon as they come here, that's not what they doing. They're slaves. Soon as they enter America, Emmett asserted that during this time, more than 100 young children were who were orphans and had taken from their Catholic parents were sent abroad into the slavery in the West Indies and Virginia in New England, and that they might lose their faith in all acknowledgement of their nationality. For in those instances, even the names were changed. Moreover, contemporary writers assert between 20,000 to 30,000 men and women were taken prisoners and sold into the American colonies as slaves. So, like, I don't like. What is the point?
Like, this is man, like, this shit is just hard to deal with, right? First of all, did he tell us where his source is coming from, right? He says this one person says 100,000 children who are orphans have been taken from their Catholic parents. Let's say that is true. Okay. Prove black people own them. Can he prove that they was owned by black people? No, absolutely not. So did the Irish go through some shit because they was invaded by England and just because they was Catholics? Of course. But the English didn't turn around and sell them to black people. The English aren't black because he already stated that the white people who came from England, Ireland, and a couple other places he's named were white. He already said that in the debate. So now he can't make the English people black. But where are the slave ads, like I showed earlier? Where the slave ads of them being brought here? These white slaves. We see Negro slaves. We see Negroes from the Congo, Negroes from Mandingo. We see all of that in real time, but we can't see black people owning these white people. Shout out to Old Dog New Tricks for the super chat donation. Appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate it. So we struggling here, Bat. We are definitely struggling. We are trying to understand where you coming from, how you even come up with this premise that black people own them, because you're supposed to be showing us your evidence of why you think it, and we're not getting anything.
You denying that white people were enslaved and that your ancestors owned slaves, or my ancestors, if you're a Negro, if you're Indian, your peoples possibly owned white indentures, white slaves, white forced laborers. Okay.
So look, you see how you try to sneak that in. If you're a Negro, your family possibly owned these white indentured servants or slaves. But where's the paperwork? Where is the paperwork?
So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. Let's move on to the next segment. All right, let me line it up. My screen showing. Is my screen showing?
Yeah, you good. Yep.
Oh no, I'm not showing the right name. My bad. Get to it. All right. It said around. Okay, we were reading that earlier. Let's move on.
So he goes back to this. So this is crazy. Like I got a meme right here, and he's trying to. They got a meme in the middle of the fucking paper he's reading, and he's trying to act like this provides some type of clarity or evidence. This dude is off his rocker, and everybody, and he's a leader. He's a leader. This is big Aboriginal power. We have sat here all this time. He still hasn't provided us any evidence. None. So even right here it says black slaves. Wait, let me go to this choppy on there. Where was he at? Oh, he was right down here. English poor were the colony's preferred source of labor, even though Europeans were more likely than Africans to die in early death in the fields. Slave owners had greater interest in keeping African slaves alive because they represented a more significant investment. So here it is already telling you that there was black slaves. But again, we're looking for the owners also. Like, come on, Bab. You really brought this. He got this shit from A1. Like the Conveyors League representing Europeans in all countries. Come on, man. This is what he's doing. They accept anything. No sources. Crazy.
It say a few months after the first shipment of the children, the first African slaves were shipped to Virginia, right? Distinguishedly, no American market existed for African slaves until the late 1700s, until the black slave traders typically took their cargo to the Bermuda. English poor were the colony's preferred source of slave labor, even though Europeans were more likely than Africans to die in early deaths in the field. Slave owners had a greater interest in keeping African slaves alive because they represent a more significant investment, right? Black slaves received treatment than a Europe. It said black slaves received better treatment than Europeans on plantations, as they were viewed as valued lifelong properties rather than indentured servants with a specific term of service.
I mean, that kills him right there, man. Like, even his own shit kills him, right? It's telling you there was black slaves. Meanwhile, a couple minutes ago, he said, yo, if you was a Negro, you most likely own one of these white slaves. Well, how? If there's black slaves? Get out of here, man.
So they telling you they treated the so-called indentured servants and the white slaves, right, worse than the black slaves. It ain't even supposed to be white slaves. It ain't even supposed to be white slaves at all. So why are we having these conversations in a debate where white slavery didn't exist, but we're talking about white slaves right now? We shouldn't even be mentioning white slaves, right? In the newspaper.
See, that's the bullshit. We shouldn't even be mentioning white slaves. You're mentioning white slaves. You're turning servants into indentured servants into slaves, and your people you're reading from is doing the same thing. That's the problem, because the history doesn't call them that.
Article I want to pull up. How much time I got left, you guys?
Yeah, that's about time, man. 3 seconds left. So
let me get a 60-second grace period. It said a broad sight, and this is from a newspaper article, right? White Slaves, which was printed on September 28, 1863. 2 years into the war, reminded Northern laborers just what they were fighting for. Portions were presented of the Senator James H. Hammond in 1858 Mud Seal speech, in which he referred to white laborers in the North as white slaves, right? As white slaves. So I don't know where we're going with this, but I interrupt.
Terrible. There's a broadside entitled White Slave, Plate 11, which was, we don't even know where he got this from. I guess it's the new white, I don't know where that's from. 2 years into the war, reminding Northern laborers just what they were fighting for. Portions were presented, and was still no black slave owners. Still missing the black slave owners.
Right here, it's his time to go.
all right, man. So that was actually an extra.
Yo, Willie, it doesn't even matter. That's why I'm not even trying to go source for source with him, because all his shit is trash and it doesn't lead to the topic. You're supposed to be showing us black slave owners. That's simple. And he's not.
35 seconds.
Well, I don't gotta debate him again. I just let his non-evidence showing kill him.
Not a coincidence. You want you an extra 35, bro?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, word. I get that for you, man. All right.
Whole time.
This what I had to do, keep reminding him, and then I'm gonna go to his third round.
He used volume 1. These are the books I was using. Volume 1, 2, quoted from. That's how I give you the whole context. And this is why he lost the debate.
Listen, not a coincidence.
Right.
Not a coincidence. Since you barking up the tree, we're gonna do whether or not white. Hold on. Since you was pulling up white slaves living in America, we already got that. Let's prove that Negroes and Indians own white slaves in America, brother.
Yeah, we haven't seen that yet. So look, let's get back to it. Can you share?
Like I said, he hasn't shown us that yet.
EVE Online is a vast.
Hey, we gonna do 27.
Let's go to his third round.
8 laws where it shows where because of these. Let's get to that. The Virginia's the diary. So let's get to that. Let's get to that, man. This the diary. All right. So when you go to the Virginia State Assemblies, right? Volume 2, page 2.
Oh wait, hold on. Is this what?
So this the diary. All right. So when you go to the Virginia State Assemblies, right? Volume 2, page 280, and also page 81, white slaves were actually owned by Negroes and Indians in the South to such extent that in the Virginia Assembly passed the following law in 1670 that enacted no Negro or Indian through baptized enjoy the own and freedom shall be capable of any such purchase of Christians, which is what they refer to white slaves as. All right. So I mean that's only in Virginia. You got so many other colonies. You got white people being shipped out to Louisiana, being shipped out to New England.
So his whole stance is because the law says they couldn't do it, that means they must have been doing it. No, right? Slavery isn't even codified at this time. You have a couple slave laws here and there, but there is no codification of slavery like in 1705 with the slave codes. But they was not owning them. You did have some that owned some indentured servants, but again, those people had rights. Right? The first Negro who becomes a slave in America is John Casar. He's a Negro. He's the first one that becomes enslaved. Right? Everybody else is coming in there on indentured servant contracts, serving their time and then getting off. Now, blacks would do longer time than white, but this is still not slavery. Still not slavery. And this doesn't mean black people was owning white slaves because the law doesn't even say white slaves, right? Because when he quotes it, it says Christian. It actually says Christian servant. I brought that all up in the debate, right? It's in the Statute of Virginia Assembly, Volume 2. It does not call them slaves.
Been shipped out to Massachusetts. That law that he's talking about where Negroes can't own slaves, we're only limited to Virginia. All right. It said Negroes also own other Negroes in America, Charleston, constitutional records, where they also own white slaves. And this is in 1754. Okay. You can look at the records.
So he's in a debate. He's telling us to look at the records. Why isn't he showing us the record? That's what I want to know. Why are you not showing us the record? Why we gotta look at the record? This is the debate. You're supposed to be showing it. And this is what I mean by they don't provide anything. Nothing. Let me see if I can find this. It's moving slow. My bad. Y'all computer moving slow. I don't know why. So this is the book he just tried to quote. The Statute at Large, Virginia laws from the first session legislation in the year 1619, all the way up. Right. This is volume 2, but we got to get to 280. We got to get to 280. I keep doing the same thing. My bad. I said I wasn't coming here to pull up all his sources. I'm just trying to show you that he never gives us a black slave owner. Not one. So let's go to this law that he was just talking about where Indians and Negroes can own white. So here we go. No Negroes or nor Indians, which tells you those are two of the different people, to buy Christian servants. They used the word slave back then. They could have called them slaves, but they didn't. Christian servants. And even in this book, it tells you who's a servant and who's a slave, right? And bottom line is, if you came from a Christian place, you would get an indenture if you didn't come here with one. And if you came from a non-Christian place, you was inherently a slave. It's just that simple. So now you can look at a map. What are some of the places that was not Christian? Africa. What was the places that was Christian? Europe. Real simple. Says where it have been questioned whether Indians or Negroes manumitted or otherwise free could be capable of purchasing Christian servants. So they're asking a question. You got these Negroes who were set free, manumitted, or otherwise free, could be capable of purchasing a Christian servant. Right? So that doesn't mean they're doing it. They're asking if they can. Right? And it says it is enacted that no Negro or Indian, so two different people, though baptized and enjoyed their own freedom, shall be capable of any such purchase of Christians, but yet not debarred from buying any of their own nation. So an Indian could buy an Indian, a black could buy a black, but they couldn't buy a white person. But a white person can buy all of the above. That's simple. So in that society, who has the upper hand? It's obviously the white people, the Europeans that he's trying to kiss ass and, that white guilt, trying to take all the guilt off of them. Had to be black people that fucked this shit up. Like, this nigga's crazy. But again, did we see any black slave owners? No.
Probate court record, right? It said while whites language in chains, blacks were free in Virginia throughout the 17th century. Willie Lee Rose, a documentary history of slavery in North America by John Henderson Russell, Free Negro in Virginia. So it talks about how black people were free and white were still in chains. How can a white man be in chains if you're not a slave? Huh? So that's what we got to understand. That's what we got to understand. That's the case closed.
It says black returning guns or other weapons. Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, I gotta speak.
We can show you whites being enslaved all the way up to the 1800s, is what I'm saying. It's various different cases. You can go to the University Studies of Pennsylvania, Historical Societies of Pennsylvania, right? University study. All right, let's get into that. Let me pull up the article. All right. We're going to give you a list of white slaves in the 1800s being sold off. Mr. Lee thinks he has a white man. Now, this is determination from the articles above, right? Now, when we get into this is from the Pennsylvania State Heritage.
This is where the logic really gets stupid at. Just listen to this.
This university study. All right. It says that he thinks he has a white man. If the matter were to be determined probably by color and appearance, some folks might join him in the conclusion to say his parents were white and that they're dying. When he was very young, he was left in charge of a slaveholder in Alabama who raised him in slavery and taught him to believe that he was a mulatto, right? He further claims that his name was changed so his relatives might never seek to reclaim him from bondage. He's a white.
So So now listen, like this is what I'm telling you. Logic makes they have no common sense, anything. So supposedly there is a man who tricks a white person to think that he's a mulatto so he can enslave him. So right there, you can't be white and a slave. You have to be something different. So he has to be a mix with what? A black person to be a slave. He's a mulatto. That's what he tricks him to. So even if we know if this shit is true or not, the point of that story is he has to trick him to think he's a mulatto to keep him enslaved. Because what? If he knew he was white, he can't be enslaved. But they have no common sense. None at all. My bad, yo. I'm back. So yeah, his logic is all off. Somebody need to help Ad Pow out. Like, why would you read a story like that where the alleged white person needs to be convinced they're mulatto, and the world needs to be convinced that he's a mulatto to keep him enslaved? That defeats the purpose of there being white slaves. And you didn't say it didn't provide if this man was black that owned him. Still nothing.
Man, that they reclassified him as a mulatto to keep him enslaved in certain areas. All right, we'll move down. In the Philadelphia Public Ledger in December 27, 1860, reprinted an article of the Natchez, Mississippi newspaper lining, painting a white girl to make her a slave. Painting.
Is Bat really this slow? So they got to paint her. So the white girl, like, even if this is, we don't know if this is a true story or not. This is ridiculous. But to enslave her, you got to paint her something other than white. Why? Because white people aren't slaves. Like, he's just killing himself. And this is the shit that they go for. But no evidence of black people owning them. Not one black slave owner.
A white girl to make her a slave. It was stated how in many forms Natchez was on a steamboat on his way to Greenville, Mississippi, when he noticed a young girl aged 9 to 10 with black hair and yellowish brown skin. He was told that she belonged to a gentleman on a board who he was talking to in New Orleans, who to sell her for $160. Talking to the young girl long inquisitive, the passenger was informed by the girl how she was an orphan and had been taken from an asylum in New York, and that her hair had been lightly originated, and her masters and barber dyed it black and also put yellow dye on her skin. Okay. Various different cases of white people getting sold throughout slavery. Okay. So I don't know, what is he talking about? Do I gotta pull?
Do you hear him? They had to paint her. Like, we don't know if it's true or not, but they still got to paint her. This story, right? They had to. It says right there was not a drop of African blood in the veins of his slave, which means he's trying to get free, right? And he's saying, listen, there's no African in me, which means Africans are the ones enslaved, not the other way around. He can't be serious. Like, that's your boy, Lotus. Oh no, you and Bat don't even get along. I forgot. Y'all still the same type of slow.
Pull up Anthony Johnson, where he owned white slaves. Yes, we're gonna get to that in just a second. Okay. So let's continue. Right. Interestingly, such cases in the white slavery in the southern states was not limited. Only in the antebellum or pre-slavery Civil War of the history. During war between the states in 1863, a correspondent of Cincinnati, Ohio Gazette reprinted in the Philadelphia Daily Evening Bulletin related to within the 78th Ohio Infantry Regiment was a man who was taken as a runaway slave into the Union lines of Tennessee. His features and skin color denoted Anglo-Saxon his ancestry, while his eyes were also blue and his lips thin and his hair light. His former Tennessee master had admitted to Colonel Mortimer D. Leggett, right, that these did not have the drop of African blood in his veins. All right. And he had purchased him in Richmond, Kentucky years before, and that he had been into sold into slavery out of some charitable institute, and from which he led to be committed as a vagrant. And this is in 1863.
And what's your point? Still no black slave owner. Like, it makes no sense. The former owner had to finally admit that he ain't had no African in him. Why? Because Africans are slaves. Like Desmond said, it's crazy how he didn't understand that they had to pretend that these white people were not white for them to be kept as slaves. He killed himself. Pseudos died their sources. That's a fact. We see it every time. But this is what you deal with the Aboriginals. They are slow. Now, I don't know who's really the dumb one in this. Aboriginal Power reading it, or all his fans and cult members and viewers that voted for him and that support this dumb shit. Taking it all the way out of context. And literally telling you that in all three instances, they had to pretend that these white people were not white to be enslaved, which tells you the law of the land is not white people being enslaved. It makes no sense. None. These dudes is crazy. All of them.
Got white slaves happening all around. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to something else here in just a second. We're going to keep going. Said on December 17th, 1862, the 3rd Michigan Cavalry came into the area where Grayson purchased a horse and rode into an encampment. And there, stop calling my phone. There was an employee, and as it was Cook non-commissioned officer Theodore Reese in the company of F, in which he moved to the north, and thus aided by Lieutenant Carl G. Rogers, and as well as citizens of Jackson, Tennessee, who assisted Grayson in carrying out his own plan. Right now, when you get into this thing, it talks about Grayson having a white slave, and that he did not have any. He was indeed a Caucasian and not of black ancestry. Okay, they were selling white people all throughout goddamn the town. Do you not know how bad they was doing white people in America? You know they was torturing white people in America, in North America.
Damn, chill on that keyboard, Pat. He killing that keyboard. What? It's still not right. It says Charles Grayson was a slave for 17 of his 23 years, but his straight light hair, fair blue eyes, and sandy beard revealed that he was indeed a Caucasian and not of black ancestry. Which means this is why he's trying to be free, because he's really white. Even if these things are true, he's not giving us the primaries. He's reading from somewhere we don't know. But we're still missing the black slave owner. And he's skipping over the fact that in every situation they had to be tricked or thought to have black / African blood to be enslaved in the first place. You know, this is that one drop rule in effect.
Slaves. They went through worse treatment than we did. I don't think y'all understand that. Let's get into that right now. Let's get into the white Christians, right? Why they prevented this law, why Negroes did this, right? Let's get into this.
Starting today, anyone can monetize with ads as part of the all-new Beehive ad network.
All right, it said before 1650, however, the greater victims of man's humanity were less of the mass of white Christian servants who suffered at the hands of the callous white Christian masters.
Stop right there. Killed himself. He's supposed to be showing white people enslaved by black people. He just read that white people, it says these Christian servants who suffered at the hands of the callous white Christian master. He didn't say the black Christian masters, the white Christian masters. But this is supposed to be the Aboriginal debate king. Like, he's supposed to be the best debater. There's no way he was supposed to win. And he only won by like 6 or 8% on his channel. You know. But he just read that sentence where it said that these white Christian servants, who he's trying to make slaves, but they're servants, suffered at the hands of the callous white Christian master. Like, he really deserves a round of applause for that. He really does. Dan, he didn't last a minute with me. I got the rebuttal at the end of every round. I'm just not showing my part. Y'all can go see it's on my channel. I killed this dude. I killed him. But again, there's no black slave owners. Right? You can go watch this. It was white people enslaved in America. The Negroes and Indians own them. Matter of fact, I got a playlist on my channel, debates. Things like 4 debates that I was in. If y'all want to check them out, there's a playlist on my channel with the debates I was in. You'll find this one in there. So you can see some of the things I brought up, some of the things I rebutted.
For the time being of all the troubles, the blacks had it better, right? So the blacks had it better, right?
Of course, a white supremacist would say that. He's reading from Michael Hoffman. Of course, he would say the whites had it better. Right?
Let's get into some shit. All right, it's in the British West Indies. The torture visited upon white slaves by their master was routine. Masters hung white slaves by their hands and set their hands afire as they means to punish them, to end the barbarity. I mean, there's various different cases in here, man. Like, I don't really want to go through all of them.
You shouldn't want to go through all of them because you already showed us that they was owned by white people. So any torture was done by white people. It wasn't done by black people back. I dropped the link if anybody want to pop on. He still got one more round, but I don't even think we need to show it. He didn't give us no black people owning white slaves. Right? When you own a slave, you own them and their increase. Right? We see that in wills. When they pass these people around, or even when they sell them, they specifically put and their increase, meaning their children. These white servants never had to go through that. Their children wasn't automatically enslaved because they was a servant, or wasn't automatically a servant because they was. It didn't work like that. But for the chattel, what they call chattel slavery, enslaved black people, that's what happened for generations. Unless they was able to get manumitted on the way. Basically a female, because the child would take the status of the mother. So if the mother was enslaved, the child would be slave, and so on and so on. So if that mother was free, the child would be free also. Any kids she had after. So if she had any kids in slavery, just because she got free, that didn't mean the kids was free. That didn't happen. They would have to be bought separately. But once she was free, any kids she had after would be free. Because the Negro, it said the child of the Negro woman takes the status of the mother. It doesn't say white woman. It says Negro woman.
But there's so many cases where white people getting turned to slush. They're getting beat down. And you mean that they weren't slaves? They weren't allowed to do nothing to the slave? Various different records is talking about how white slaves were treated worse often than so-called black slaves. Okay. It's in 1640, the General Court of Virginia ruled that 2 white slaves, principal actors, and converts in the most dangerous conspiracy by attempting to run out the county. All right, they chose 2 white slaves were running out the county, and this is the General Court of Virginia.
That's time, man.
All right, let's go.
Word, man. Solid.
We're gonna take a quick 2-minute break, get everything together, and then we'll let the moderators come back. We'll be right back in 2 minutes, you guys.
So let's go back, because this case right here, this shows you how pseudo this book is. Where am I? Damn, I lost the tab. I was at. This shows you how messed up this book is, because it leaves something specifically out. Who that them back there? Let me see. Well, that's Sean P.
They use Virginia for everything else, but then when it comes to this slavery shit, they try to duck from Virginia and say, well, nah, that's only in Virginia. Nah, because when y'all was sitting over here talking that rinky-dink stuff about everything else y'all been arguing, y'all was including Virginia and all that. Nah, that's only in Virginia. Bro, it's so biased.
So
and just to add, they had slave codes and laws. Yeah. Virginia set the precedent for that shit.
All of that shit. So check this out, Sean. You see where he read that 1640 case at the end? Do you know what case they talking about with that?
Go into it.
When I say the name, you're gonna know. That's the John Punch case.
Oh yeah.
Right. So you see, there's no mention of John Punch, right?
At all.
So the author is doing what? Cherry picking.
Mm-hmm.
Right. There's rules, like if you was a white servant and you ran away, it would be worse for you if you ran away with a Negro. You know what I'm saying? You ran away with a Negro is worse for you. So these 2 white people, they got whipped and had to wear shackles for extra years. It got harder for them. But what happened to John Punch? He became a slave forever. He was an indentured servant, and they all ran away together. And he became a slave forever. So wouldn't that be what they call preferential treatment?
Yo, what's up, Nack? What's up, Sean?
Right? The white people got a better consequence.
Yo, Nack, Shaw, check my name out.
Anti-gringo, Abo Indian. Well, it says they what?
Yo, that's funny. Go ahead, Nack. What you saying?
Yeah, so this
author,
this author purposely left the black person out of this case, because the black person was one that got life, while the white people, they just got punished a little bit. So this is from the general court's response.
Right. They all ran away. Ran away, and then when they got caught, You know what I'm saying? They said, "Oh, y'all got to go serve y'all time." But the thing is, he got life. He was
Yep.
given slavery for life, and they were condemned to a certain amount of years.
So look,
I don't know why
in
they
the,
use that shit.
in the book it said they got 7 years. But right here, by their said indentures and recompenses of his loss sustained by their absence, and after that service of their said master is expired to serve the colony for 3 whole years apiece, and that the third being a Negro named John Punch shall serve his said master or his assigns for the time of his natural life here or else. They got 3 years. He got life. Meanwhile, the book says what? 7.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving you the primary. This is right from the Minutes of the Council of General Court of Virginia, page 466. Right? The 2 white people, they get extra years, but Punch gets life. How is that fair? And they got another case of some
That
people.
goes back to the point of how the legality system worked in favor of whites versus how they viewed everybody else. Because they knew they couldn't condemn them other whites to lifetime slavery, but they could deem them for being criminal, right? Running away from their country, because what they were doing is they were trying to escape the contract, and they didn't want to do the labor no more, and they still had time on their contract. So in order to honor their contract, they violated them on their agreement and said, "We're gonna add additional time on your contract." They got to move on with their life. John became an
life.
example.
Yep, an example to other Negroes. You want to run? Go ahead. So shout out to Tunde
You want it?
for the super chat. Appreciate that, bro. Definitely
Quick
appreciate
question. I haven't heard your answer, Snack, but did you catch him? Did you ask him to make what is the difference between indentured slavery and chattel slavery?
No, he didn't get into that. He avoided that at all costs. Not a coincidence to find it in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay,
I explained all that. Like, if you want to check it out, like I said,
yeah, I'll go check it out. I know you did. I know you crushed the guy, but yeah,
it was definitely I don't remember everything, but I know I addressed everything, and I went first actually. So these guys are very predictable. So I was kind of doing things before he could do it. So before he can even bring things up, like when he brought up that the etymology of slave, I brought that up in the first round. I went first. I brought that up in the first round, explain how it's a fallacy to use that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was on.
He was cooked. And you definitely know that A1 was kind of chilling some of that other ignorance. And then he didn't even want to really just draw attention to, and I don't mind saying this right now, but he didn't want to draw attention to the convicted felons that came over in the 1600s, along with all the other contract workers. You know what I'm saying? Like that migrated to the Americas. Like there was a lot of that, and we know that because we got the list with all of the people that committed crimes.
Yeah, because some of the white people committed heinous crimes and that deserve to be locked up for life. And back then they didn't have jails. They put you to hard labor. You seen all the old movies, or I sentenced you to this many years of hard labor. You going to work, man.
Yeah, and you got to
That's
serve
exactly
the
how
time.
it was. So some of them will have 5, some of depending on their sentence, and some of them would have life also. But
Their
they
goal
still
was to
wasn't
get them out of
enslaved,
Europe.
and they still wasn't entitled to certain things, and they could still make complaints to the court. Negroes could not do that
at all.
No, there's so much evidence in regards that early British America, as well as British Pacific Islands, were colonies of delinquents, rapists, murderers, and so much more. and the so-called Puritans that came here were actually terrorists.
Yeah, in the name of Jesus.
In the name of Jesus, and they were terrorists. You know, the British were phenomenal in doing that. The Spanish, they kind of like did it a bit more under the table, so it's kind of hard to follow through the history. But fucking Spanish, Portuguese, French, English, everybody just sent the worst of the worst over here.
Yep. Nah, yeah, they absolutely sent their worst of the worst of it. So yeah, he never proved any black slave owners. That's just, you know what I'm saying. And with this case, we could see the author loses credibility here because why does he only mention the 2 white slaves when it was actually 3 people? You know what I'm saying? As I showed in this is the 1640 case they're talking about. The white people didn't get 7 years like the author said. They got 3 years. And the Negro got life.
Life.
So how is this author even credible at this point? We see even this author is pushing a narrative, you know what I'm saying? And it's through white supremacy. Why would an Aboriginal be using a white supremacist author? Because he damn sure in this whole book there ain't one black slave owner. So I don't even know why he went to this book. Yeah, but yeah, I'm done with that. I've been on that a little too long. Bap still running from Sean.
Listen, I'm gonna shoot me if you can, shoot me an email, and whenever you don't feel like debating them, hell, I'll go for a debate against any of those guys any day of the week, man. This fucking thing, they're getting tired of this gringo pseudo abo bullshit, you know.
Yeah, fucking I wouldn't even debate them on their platforms like that. Like, I don't know, man.
No, I wouldn't go to the phones. I'd have them come here.
I did it, so I can't knock you if you want to do it a couple times just to get the information, just to get the info out. But it's really, if you're like, I did win them, but they didn't like Hawk School. I did catch the thing over there. I'm still 1-1 in their debate league.
I would even challenge them to a simple conversation. Remember the 3 questions I asked in your prior lives?
Yeah.
When did the first modern human arrive to the Western Hemisphere? How long were civilizations being established here prior to the arrival of the Europeans? And what's the difference between colonialism and the era of independence?
See, Ditto, that's where you be messing up. You ask them too many questions in a row. They can't answer one question. So if you give them
just want to pop in and say hi.
Then you give them an excuse. You know
crash. I'm not. Somebody's muted. Somebody's speaking, but it's muted.
Oh, can you hear me? Mic check. Can anybody hear me?
I hear you. I don't know what this I'm talking about.
I thought y'all lost me. Yo, look, but Smoke live right now.
You live?
Yeah.
That's what you heard. You heard Smoke signal.
Nah, I had it on mute the whole time. Let's see what they talking about real quick.
Racist bitch. I'm not.
Okay, yeah, I'm a Mormon and I'm racist and you're an Indian.
I know you're a
Should I finish?
Mormon bitch.
Let him finish.
Should I finish?
But you do this. Why you saying that? They try to run every goddamn inch of the world.
Fuck that shit.
What?
I don't even know how you
Yeah,
got
fuck
on
them
the
all.
goddamn-
Sorry, what were you
they
saying?
coming up with that bullshit trying to say, oh, do
Yeah, no, they arguing over
this, you
I
do
heard him
this,
say,
you do that.
I'm good on that. Yeah, man.
That sound like that old dude man, be lying all the time.
Yeah, that was Molten Gator. That was definitely Molten Gator.
Yeah, the African name over there, he trying to act like he ain't African. Cool joke. What's that nigga name?
Your boy Vino was on there too.
Yeah, he trash. You see how he try to duck y'all when y'all said something to him, bro?
He always
Like,
ducks you.
yeah, man. Like, I appreciate you watching my videos, Sean P. You know, that's how he talk. He sound like he got something in his mouth while he talk. I appreciate you watching my videos, Sean P. You know what I'm saying? You still answer my question, though. Still answer my question.
He got more questions.
How did the Africans get here? How did they get here, Sean P? Huh? That don't add up. They said about 80 years. And they didn't say he's taking it. And he's taking that so serious, that 80 years. He's not understanding that that's a hypothesis. He's not understanding that that's a fact. Like, this guy is having a conversation with some people that might have been around here for a certain amount of time. He's just saying that. He doesn't say for exactly 80 years. They've been here for over 80 years. They're not insinuating that. Even if they were insinuating over 80 years, look at the time, 1572. Sean P. So how did the black people get into Panama, Sean P? That was up there in Hispaniola. That was Hispaniola. We talking about Panama. We talking Panama, Sean P. You can't even explain it to me, Sean P. Like, for real, like, how did they get to Panama, bro? And all right, so how did they get to Panama? Do you think Columbus was the only person to reach the Americas first? Yes or no? You can't answer the question. When I said that Columbus, there was people coming behind Columbus, start to look at all the adventurers, quote unquote adventurers, that preceded Columbus. Because they start coming to this motherfucker real quick. And why the fuck is you driving slow, bro? What you got on the screen now?
Oh, that's the casual killing act. Oh, I gotta pull up one more thing. Hold on. Just to show that there was a difference between servants and slaves. I can find this other one. Well, yeah, keep talking, Sean. You got it.
Yeah, but he didn't understand. So hold on, let me act like him real quick. So Sean P. So how did they get to Panama, Sean P? Like Francis Drake said they came, Sean P. in the page 4. Francis Drake said right there in the bottom paragraph that they came in about 80 years. Sean P. That makes sense. That's why I said, when not a coincidence, y'all try to tell me that the picture from 1586, right? For the picture was showing that them can't be Africans. Them gotta be the people, Sean P. Them the people on the picture, Sean P. Because the picture from 1586, and then Sir Francis Drake said that the people had been there for about 80 years. Where do you think this picture came from, Sean P? That's how he talked. Listen to the logic. Flawed as fuck. You're using an image from 1586. And you're trying to superimpose it on Sir Francis Drake's explanation for what he's saying in this paragraph. In a conversation that he's having with somebody that you don't know beyond that paragraph. I'm going to tell y'all right now, if you read page 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of that book, you're going to look at, totally different. Like, totally different. And to add to that, you can't use that image as a description. And then he's negating what the description is saying in the book. It clearly says that they're Africans. So you have to, Vino, and I know you watching, you have to concede the point that the image that you're so in love with, call these people Africans. The images you continue to show, call these people Africans. Your argument about clothes and no clothes, bro. These people went from Europe where the temperature was cool to somewhere where the temperature was just outlandish near the equator. Do not wear them type of clothes, bro. Do not. You know who is wearing them type of clothes? People that don't have the melanin that you have. So the Europeans are going to have to put something on or their skin will burn. They're going to bubble up. They're going to have problems. Take some scorching hot water and throw it on yourself and watch your skin bubble up. That's what happened to them if they stand out there in that sun with nothing on, no protection. They're going to get red as all get out and begin to blister. So no, you don't know what you're talking about. The answer to your question is simply this. Every description that you used and y'all continue to use is speaking on the terms of these people being African. Every description. So now show me that goes back to Knox's point and argument about white slaves. How, bro, when they telling you from the gate, since they've been coming over here, they had with them white, they had African people with them. And they knew the difference between them, the people that they encountered, and the Africans that they brought with them. So yeah, they tripping.
All the
But Sharpie, like what I'm trying to say is, y'all are answering the question. It's 3-0, baby. 3-0 knockout. 3-0 knockout, Sharpie. You niggas can't even answer it. I just asked you a question and y'all can never answer my question. Like, I want to know where the black people come from, Sharpie. That ain't telling me that where the black people come from. You answering, but you ain't answering my question. You telling me. So now you're telling me that the people that's in the picture in Panama, the them black people is from Africa? Yeah, because it said on the description, Nah, them peoples. Listen, Sir Francis Drake didn't say that. Sir Francis Drake didn't say that. Sir Francis Drake arrived at around Panama area after Christopher Columbus. Guess how many times Christopher Columbus had already been to the Americas by the time Sir Francis Drake get here?
What, 3?
Yes. He's had 3 voyages before Sir Francis Drake. Columbus' last voyage is his second voyage was around 1494. He had another one in 98. I could be fucking it up a little bit, but it's somewhere around there. But my point is that he's been here multiple times, bro. Sir Francis Drake is just pulling up on the scene. So how do Sir Francis Drake have in the mind of Vino have so much credence, and he ain't even Sir Francis Drake ain't even agreeing with Vino. Vino abusing the hell out of this nigga as a source.
So look here, I'm ready now. So here's one way to see how a slave and a servant is different. I showed this shit plenty of times, right? So it says the act about the casual killing of slaves. Whereas the only law enforced for the punishment of refractory servants resisting their masters, mistress, or overseers cannot be inflicted upon Negroes. So what's a forcible punishment? They're talking about life. They already got life. So you can't inflict that on Negroes as they can on servants, because these servants have a time, 7, 10, 2, how many years it is, they have a time. So the only law enforced for the punishment of refractory servants, they're saying servants, which are those white indentured servants, resisting their mistresses or overseers cannot be inflicted upon Negroes. Well, why can't it? Because they already got life. No, so they can't. So basically, it's saying, yo, if you don't act right, I'm gonna threaten you with, giving you more time, and that might get an indentured servant to act right. So they're saying, cannot be inflicted upon Negroes, nor the obstinity of many of them by other than violent means suppressed. Being enacted and declared by this grand assembly, if any slave resists his master or other by his master's order correcting him, and by the extremity of the correction should chance to die, that his death shall not be accompanied of felony, but the master or that other person appointed by the master to punish him be acquit from molestation, since it cannot be presumed that the prepense malice, which alone makes murder felony, should induce any to destroy his own estate. So they're saying, we don't think that you would, destroy your property. And we understand you just trying to correct them. There's no malice. Right? So let's go here. So that was volume 2 of the Statute of Laws. This is volume 3. The one from volume 2 is page 270 in that book, Act 1, 270. And then this is volume 3 of the Statute at Large, right? It said, and also, so let me give you, this is from, this is 1705 Slave Code, an act concerning servants and slaves. So in this act, it makes a distinction of who's a servant, who's a slave. This is when slavery gets codified. So that other one was in 1669. This is 1705. And also to be enacted by authority aforesaid, and is hereby enacted that all masters and owners of servants shall find and provide for their servants wholesome and competent diet, clothing, and lodging by the discretion of the county court, and shall not at any time give immoderate correction, neither shall at any time whip a Christian at any time whip a Christian white servant naked without an order from a justice of the peace. Sean, do you see a difference?
Hell no.
What you mean? I'm saying the difference between how the slave is treated versus servant.
Yeah, the difference. Yeah, I see that shit. I'm thinking about how the fuck they trying to argue this shit.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Nah, they argue this shit stupid.
Right? And again, like we said, this is something else. This is where a servant would get in trouble for running away with a Negro. So be it enacted that in case any English servant, so English, Christian, we understand they're talking about what? White people, shall run away in company with any Negroes who are incapable of making satisfaction by addition of time, which means any Negroes that are slaves, right? Being enacted that English so running away in company with them shall serve for the time of the said Negroes absent. They're to do their own by a former act, right? So however long they was gone, you're gonna serve that Negro's time. Running away and come. Negroes who are incapable of making satisfaction by addition of time. So if you run away with any Negro slaves, however long y'all was gone, you're gonna do that time.
You don't do that time, bro.
Which would
whatever you
be
got left on your contract.
so now would it be obviously it would be less worse if they just ran away with white people, right?
Right.
So you know what I'm saying? So you see the difference. And they you know what I'm saying? So and look at the language. And with any Negroes who are incapable of making satisfaction by addition of time. If you can't add on, if I'm in jail, right, and if you can't add on my time, what does that mean? How much time I got? Life, right? Because if I got 10 years and I do something, you can give me 3 more years or something like that. But no, you can't add on more time because I got life. See what these idiots is doing.
Ain't even the Paul Cuffey that we be talking about. That's his son. That's the part that Hulk ain't gonna tell y'all. That's why his father name is Paul. We be talking about the father. So when y'all, I don't know why you was up here trying to thinking that you were talking about the actual Paul Cuffey that we always refer to. I don't know if you was trying to pull a fast one on the people in the chat or the people on the panel, but you were talking about his son, the junior. I don't know if you knew that. I don't know if Aton knew that.
I could have swore I've been saying Paul Cuffey Jr. the whole time, but you don't know who Paul Sr. is. That's where you fucked up.
Cool. So
that's where you fucked up, because you tried to say his daddy an African slave when his daddy is Paul Sr.
Wait. Hold on. Smoke signal. Wait. Smoke signal. Wait. What's Paul Cuffey Sr.'s father's name? What's his father's name?
Nigga, you don't even know your father's name, nigga. You asking me a nigga father name from the 1700s and you don't know.
These dudes still trying to say Paul Cuffey not African. Yeah.
How do they come to the conclusion that he not when we know he is? He tell you that he is himself.
Exactly.
He tell you what he is, bro. At the end of the day, Cuffey tells you what he is and what he ain't. He don't deny nothing.
And they're talking about that memoir. So some people say his son wrote it. Like I showed him the source.
But what would be the motivation for him saying that? No matter who wrote what, when, where, how.
Whether he wrote it or his son wrote it, it still says Paul Cuffey's father is from Africa. That's it.
Right.
So only one of two.
But what motivation would it serve though in that listen to what I'm saying. What motivation would it serve for him to say that during that era? Who's forcing him to say that? There's no argument about being indigenous or aboriginal to the Americas or no bull junk going around like that. There's no intent to deceive. He's writing his memoir.
Yeah.
He's telling you who he is. He's not letting someone else tell you who he is. So whoever, his son or himself, is the authority on who Paul Cuffey is.
Exactly. Or they could have did it together because he was alive when it was published.
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think he died like 5 years after that. 1817 or 15, one of them. It came out in 1812. But it's attributed to one or the other. That's my point. So you saying like they don't know? They know.
Was it Sachi talking or all school? That was Sachi, wasn't it?
That was shot in Hawk School.
I know it was shot. Okay, so shot. Okay. So they always, the reason that I asked that is because they all got the same playbook, bro. Divert. So when he asked him a question about what's his father's name, and the dude couldn't even answer the question, that just goes to show how much he actually know about Cuffey. Like, bro, you ain't studying Cuffey. You're looking for a moment, and you still can't even find that moment, bro. Like, this what y'all doing, bro? Y'all doing this stuff, you know what I'm saying? Y'all still doing this stuff, bro. We take a break, and y'all still stuck.
Like, literally, bro, when you look up Paul Cuffey, they tell you his name comes from Ghana. They tell you this.
Exactly. His damn name, bro.
Anything to do, even though his mom was an Indian, his name, that Cuffey name, because the father was Cuffey Sokum. They chose to take the Cuffey last name. So obviously his father passed on some type of traditions or something. For them to want to take that name, his first, what he was using as his first name, as their last name.
I got a question real quick. What the hell you talking about, old dog? Why you posted in the chat? We know about that myth.
What is that? What are you talking about?
The Irish slave trade.
Oh, the Irish slave trade. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Ain't even law.
Because it definitely wasn't a slave trade.
Right. They wasn't going to Ireland to go get motherfuckers and ship their ass to a new world. That wasn't their motive.
Most of them was convicts.
Oh, okay. I got you. Hold on. I thought somebody was in there talking that junk. I told one, like I said, we already got the answer to the test, bro. The answer to the test is that there's no for them to sit here and say these white people, the white now is rewriting history, and they saying all of this. What is the ulterior motive? They have already conquered this land. They have already ran the people where they needed to run them, and they killed off as many people as they could and germed them to death with things that they were unprepared for. America is not an indigenous land. It is not the land that was uninhabited by all of this shit that you see today.
Bro, they think that they had cities and ports and everything basically
No,
you see.
wasn't none of that.
Nah.
Wasn't none of that.
None of it.
None of it at all, bro. These Indians wasn't building no stuff like that. They had a hard time building for themselves what they did build because it took up so much of their resources and time, and they had to defend themselves and from other people they beefing with, just trying to get their resources when they settle in places. So why do you think they built teepees so quickly? Because that was better for them.
Yeah,
They weren't
the
just
one
going
you
around
see.
building someplace that they were going to get ran out of soon. No electricity, no water systems, no pipes.
They didn't even have
Come on.
draft animals. They didn't have animals like to farm with, to use horsepower, like to move certain shit. Like they didn't even have that.
Just look at their diet. Check their diet out. Check the people's diet out in early America. Tell you what they doing, bro. We ain't got to make nothing up. They're telling us themselves how they rocking, straight up and down. Like they bogus for that. That's why we can stay on that. We can stay on that argument because whatever argument they want to make, we can stay on that. We got the answers to the test. Get around it. They can formulate any question that they want to formulate, but they got to ask themselves that question and try to falsify it or prove it right or wrong on their own merit. But they ain't gonna do that. They're just gonna hop on the panel. Now I think they got a good ass question, and then we're gonna pull up the source. It's gonna answer that shit, and then them niggas look stupid again, and then we back to square one.
Or they try to make you answer it how they want you to answer.
Yeah,
like,
fuck
you
that. I ain't doing that shit.
You argue about that. Like these niggas is the worst, man. I don't know. The shit I be seeing over there is crazy, man. Like, we dealing with children.
I don't know why they think it's a way to fame, bro.
Me neither.
Lying on motherfucking shit, casting doubt, skepticism. I mean, you ain't even the right type of a skeptic. You don't even have you're not even trained in critical thinking to even be the right type of skeptic. You is what's that shit they call them people be conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
It's it. You're a conspiracy theorist, bro. You don't know nothing about yourself.
Everything's a conspiracy.
Yep.
And that's what they.
Why you think?
Say what?
Here. Why do white people take your land? What the evidence of them taking your land, bro? You just let them come over here, take your land, change your language. Oh wait, English is your language. Well, goddamn, they didn't take it. You learned their language.
Word, see, I couldn't.
Nah, English is indigenous. Okay, all right.
They say anything, man.
Right.
English is indigenous, but then they'll say, "Oh, Mississippi is a whatever word." You know what I'm saying? Like, why it's not an English word?
Right.
Oh, English is made up of a bunch of indigenous languages. I thought English was indigenous language. Robert Lee, what's good?
What's good, y'all? What y'all got going on?
Nothing much, man. Just bullshitting.
Man, they didn't kick me
I
off
was showing
Sharice
earlier.
panel.
I was showing a debate. What you said?
I said they kicked me off Sharice panel. I went over there, had to interrogate them about their little video they watch, and they got pissed off and kicked me off.
Yeah, Sharice sensitive. That's why I don't even go over there.
Man, that girl, that shit sad, man. How they is, man. And I don't be want to, disrespect the shawty or anything, but this shit crazy.
I just be telling like Sharice, I know you smarter than that. Like, come on,
Word.
man.
Yo, she played that video with the Narragansett people talking and telling them their history, telling them that they African and Native mixed, but they still gonna deny that these people African
Yeah,
or mixed with African. I'm like, but they telling you.
that's how they do. They literally cherry pick. They accept the other thing they said, but not that African part. Nah.
Yeah, anything to do with African, they don't say.
They know they lying.
I asked them, I say, was the one drop rule applied to dark skinned people or light skinned people? And they stumbled around that shit.
They don't want to answer that. Like,
Because how they try to put it is, it could be talking about anybody. And I was like, no, because I'm like, if you dark skinned, they ain't even asking you about no one drop.
exactly. There's no question.
Yeah. I was like, that shit is only referred to the light people.
People trying to pass or somebody thinking they possibly could.
Yeah, I told Cosmon, I say, son, there's no question about if you got one drop or African blood. I'm like, we're not gonna question that. You just African.
They actually
Cosmon is a con.
Oh yeah, he
big
definitely
time.
Yeah, he big time a con.
Yo, he's
that's OTK. That's OTK.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah. OTK. Cosmon probably a con too.
Nah, definitely.
Cosmon the biggest con of them all, yo.
But you
No, con the tribe, yeah, Robert.
You remember when I showed his family tree?
From Alabama.
And he was talking about, as a matter of fact, you pulled up his tree, showed that was his tree, and he still was denying it, and we looking at it.
Word.
I remember that night.
But so that's how much he'll lie.
Word. You literally pulled up the one he showed his. You was like, okay, yeah, this the one I'm on. No, it's not. That ain't it. How you know it was me? Yo,
he had a couple accounts. So he pulled up one of the ones that wasn't the full tree like I had.
Yeah.
But now then I went and showed a clip of him showing people on his tree that wasn't on the tree that he showed. And I went and grabbed that tree and showed, like, look, they're not even on there. So where they at? Because they're in the tree I showed, which had black people turning into white people once you get past 1870. Like if he was able to take it to the furthest he could take it, then he just attached it to white people.
Yeah.
That's all he did to make it go back to, he'd be like, oh, I got people 1600s and they black.
But nah, he didn't get past 1870.
He didn't get nothing past 1870.
Yeah, he didn't get past that. That's how you know the people slaves.
And he barely got to 1870 on most of them lines.
Wow.
He don't know what the fuck he doing. It's hard to get to 1870 on all your line. Because I haven't done it. I ain't gonna act like I had. I'm still looking for people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Or like my let's say for instance, like my great grandmother Latha. I don't know who her mother is, but I know who her grandmother is because she was raised by her. But I still don't know who her mother is. So I just got a space where I put a person there. It says not unknown, but I know who the grandmother was, who the grandmother raised it. So I don't know if she died at birth or what happened. I don't know.
They say they can go back to the 1500s.
Niggas be lying, man. I mean, yeah, if you get to that white person, which, you know, if you're a black American, you have that in your genealogy. That'll take you back there, but not with no black people or Indians. No. Absolutely not.
Well, they death scared of Sean though. I'm
Hell
talking
yeah, they
death
scared.
scared.
I said that shit earlier, especially Aboriginal power.
Yeah, he definitely death scared of Sean.
Word. And now Bap, anytime Bap hear my name, he just go write the jokes. That's how I know he don't want no action with me. He don't even try to talk. He just starts talking shit. Like, word. He don't want no smoke. Definitely not Sean, because we know he ran. He purposely ran. He was supposed to be able to do something. Like, nigga, you ran. And we wasn't even making a big deal of it. Sean talked about it, but you know what I'm saying? We wasn't making a big deal of it. Nah, nigga, now you ran, bro. Word.
And
You
then
set up. Good.
no, I was just gonna say, then he basically what you were about to say, he set it all up, then ducked the damn fight, then act like he didn't duck the fight.
No, act like he was gonna do it another day. Hold on. We had a date, then he changed it. He said, I'll do it this day. It was supposed to be a certain time, like early afternoon. It was a Saturday. He said,
yeah.
He lied and said, yo, I was at the beach. So
Nah. Remember, he said, I ain't at the crib right now. I'm out with the old lady or something, he said. And then we said, okay. We waited a few hours. I said, hit him back, Mac. He didn't respond. Then we hit him back again.
Hit him.
He didn't respond until about 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock Mac time. I said, let's do it right now. He didn't want to do it.
We basically set
I'm
up
out
like
of town.
and it didn't. None of them happened. Like, come on, bro. You couldn't. You always on the internet. You couldn't find some time, and then he purposely said he had time when Sean was known to be going away.
Yeah,
that was already made clear. You had like a 2-week window where he's not. You couldn't in 14 days. You couldn't find a day where y'all can get it. Fuck out of here. We know what that's about.
Hey, yo, I tried to debate, and then even still, when he was acting like he had time, I tried to debate it, but he was on the live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I want to do pay-per-view. I want pay-per-view it. All right, nigga.
Yeah,
you already debated this shit twice, bro. Why are you trying to pay-per-view?
Word. Like, what you trying to? We don't need it. Like, we can just do it regular. No pay-per-view.
Yeah, them niggas they don't want to have no comments. They don't want to let me talk for nothing. If I come on the panel, they know I'm gonna blow that bitch up.
You and NAC, like when y'all
Mhm.
around, oh man.
Nah, and they say he nicer. He nicer to him. He let them get their pseudo out. I don't let them get shit out. They say one goddamn thing wrong, I'm on their head. Paul.
Hey. No, this is what I want to ask y'all. What the fuck wrong with Vino and that damn haircut, son?
He said that's what they doing. Where he at? Oklahoma? That's what they doing out there.
Yeah, boss ain't.
Man, I don't believe they get down like that at Oklahoma.
Man, that's
ain't no way.
Boss man said, "Shit, this nigga got a ducktail with 3 stripes on the side of his head, like his hair been scalped by
What the fuck?
Indian."
That supposed to be a barcode? Like,
And that nigga laced, man.
yo, that I ain't never in my life seen nobody do no weird shit like that, yo.
That nigga smoking PCP.
Got to be, yo. Oh man.
Yo. If anybody smoking it, it's Vito. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Hell yeah.
That nigga crazy.
That shit crazy right there. I was like, when I saw that damn haircut, I said, man, I had to screenshot that shit too. I had to show motherfuckers, yo. We've been laughing at that shit all day.
These
like,
niggas
yo, that shit crazy. I be telling motherfuckers about these weird motherfuckers online, man. Y'all, I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't know none of these motherfuckers if it wasn't for y'all. I was fucking with y'all. But when what made me mess with them is when the shit happened, when y'all exposed the OTK niggas.
Yeah.
And that's how I found out about all of them. I ain't know they exist, bro. I ain't know none of them exist.
Oh, word, up until then?
Up until then, bro.
You been on their ass ever since.
Ever since, bro. Like, yo, that shit is crazy, yo.
Yo.
I mean, it really be pissing me off because how they talk so much shit about black people and then try to hijack black people culture at the same time saying this person ain't black, they really Indian and shit. I'm like, yo, where y'all from?
Word. That shit always been a separate thing.
Always.
And there wasn't no problem with that.
Yeah.
Now it's a problem. I don't know. They was really just brought up to hate Africa. They have this thing with Africa. Like, so if they ain't from there, they got to be from here, I guess. But they still talking about Paul Cuffey. I want to see what they talking about.
Well, talking about his daddy wasn't African.
Shit. Damn.
All the evidence say the man daddy was African, but they don't want to believe he African.
This author didn't even live in his time period.
Yo, that nigga right there, Hawk School.
So she's gonna tell us about
radio show, yo.
That nigga, I can't stand that motherfucker.
Yo, that nigga can talk for
Ever.
an hour straight, no break, don't take no breath, no nothing, son.
Word.
First of all, the author writing about a historical someone of existence in history doesn't have to be from the time period. There's these things called primary evidence, notes, and documentations that has been left over or passed down or provided to people who's doing primary research that can write about these said people. So let me give you an example of that. How many books, stories, cartoons, or mentions of Mansa Musa exist that that is out there today?
Shit, a lot.
But the people that were writing about these accounts wasn't there when Mansa Musa in the 13th century. But the information that was left behind about Musa created an opportunity for investigation into the story of Mansa Musa. There was records, King's List. You had notable Arabs writing. So you have manuscripts that are written in Arabic. That's how. Like, we wouldn't know who these people were, bro. Like, you're talking about this person went in the time period. That's the dumbest. Man, I don't even want to cuss, bro.
Yo, hold on, my bad. But sure, look, they're talking about Paul Cuffey. This is Hawk School showing a source. If you can see on the left hand side, it says his father. Let me see. Look, where's it at? Oh yeah, right here. By contrast, his father, whatever, African ancestry. He trying to hide that. This is what they do, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, let me see what he said.
out, nigga. You don't get this bullshit.
Back up a little bit.
Nigga, this
And go
type
to the
shit
left,
didn't even
bro.
exist.
This is Shy Source. My bad. I thought this was Hawk School Source. He's telling them it's some bullshit because it says African ancestry.
You an idiot, bro.
Let's see what it say, man. Let's see what kind of
Times New Romans ass shit.
Yeah.
Already coming up with
another
excuses, huh?
motherfucking introduction. You niggas is motherfucking maggot.
Already making excuses.
You a maggot, nigga.
Why the fuck are you on this?
So it says,
They already disrespecting this nigga, yo. Already disrespecting this dude. He ain't even showing the source.
Who is the author that's writing this introduction and what
Somebody
year?
back there true. Somebody back there true. Hey man, I keep on telling y'all these nigga sources be these niggas sources be irrelevant. It just be this shit.
So you're always asking us to bring up sources, then they do, and you say these sources are bogus.
Wait, Lubis, y'all making this longer than it need to be. Hold on, Lubis. Now, Smoke, remember, me and
Little is known about.
You and Lucas run together. Okay.
Little is known about Paul Cuffey Jr. beyond what he tells us in this brief memoir. His paternal grandfather was Cuffey Slocum, a West African brought to the slave market in Providence, Rhode Island at the age of 10 and sold to the Slocum family of Massachusetts. The Slocums were Quakers, and the ideal of slavery so conflicted with their religious beliefs that in the 1740s he was free. In 1745, Cuffey Slocum
Christian values.
married Ruth Moses, a Wampanoag Indian from Martha's Vineyard. They had 10 children, one of whom was Paul Cuffey Sr., the noted black abolitionist and merchant of his time. Paul Cuffey Jr. was Paul Cuffey correctly trashed.
Correctly, and this motherfucker's now hold on, smoke. He incorrectly called himself. Now, mind you, that this source is from 2005, and this motherfucker say the nigga incorrectly called himself a Pequot.
Who's Pequot? In
You brought a source from 2005 with another motherfucker saying a nigga in 1808 was incorrect in what he called himself. He ain't no Pequot. He a Wampanoag. We don't know nothing about him except for what he say about himself, but he don't know what the fuck he's saying about himself.
Hey, Smoke, I just want to say
in 2005, another motherfucker wrote this.
Smoke. I don't want to argue. So remember, I told you.
And to argue about it, in 2005, another motherfucker wrote this. How can another motherfucker say what a nigga meant 200 years ago when he said it and wrote it down eloquently? I might add.
Yo, look, this is another way. Like these niggas are idiots. So, right, they're saying that Paul Cuffey Jr. called himself a Pequot, right? But if you ask Hall School what was Paul Cuffey, he's gonna say Wampanoag. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, because he married a Pequot woman though, right?
Yeah. Well, his mom was Pequot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he did marry a Pequot woman also. Hold on, I got a phone call.
Yo, them niggas got serious issues. I don't understand why they hate being African so much, or hate being black so much. Cause they ain't gonna gain shit by being Indian.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, man. He don't even understand what he's reading. Because he would agree, like, Paul was a Wampanoag. I don't know. So, but I'm definitely, huh?
I'm gonna say they yet to produce any evidence that blacks was here prior to 1492.
Zero. None.
Primary sources of the father saying he was African.
Hey, go jump on the panel now.
I was, but I can't even choose. I gotta get up out of here, man. I wanted to on the panel, but I gotta go. I'm at my time limit.
Word. You ain't off all week?
Huh?
You ain't off all week?
I get off Thursday, Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm definitely gonna make some time.
All right. All right, man. Shut it down there.
I wish I could run up over there, but fuck it. I had to go on bat real quick. He be running his fucking mouth. Oh, I'm tired of that.
I'm gonna go over there and talk a little bit.
Yeah, Robert Lee, run down over there, man.
Hey, hold on. So Bat was talking again?
Nah, just whenever he see me, he be talking shit.
Okay.
Pretty sure because this was I don't even know how many lives ago, but I remember somebody did say in the chat that he was running from me, and he said something about that. Zane, I ain't cooking anything for Thanksgiving. I'm eating. I'm eating real good. Word. Real good. I can't wait. Yeah.
Who is the dude at the bottom with his camera on?
Label
Lubis.
Lubis. Yeah, Lubis.
Lubis or
Puerto
some
Rico.
shit. Yeah, but he's disrespectful though too. Like he goes against what they say, but then he also, they let him call them niggas and all types of crazy shit.
Yeah.
Word.
But shit, they go in on him too.
Like yeah.
Like they go
But they
in on
openly
him.
let him be racist. Like that's the shit I don't get. Like fuck out of here, man.
Yeah.
Vino on there again?
Yeah, Vino, stay up there, man.
Asking the same dumb question. The Black Indian. Shit's crazy, yo.
Shit, I'll catch y'all later then, man. I might go live tomorrow.
Yeah, do that. Man.
All right.
If I'm by the computer, I'm gonna jump on.
Yeah.
Shit, I'll be on the road, so I'll get to see it here. I might, I'm in Cincinnati right now, but I might got to go to damn California. So I'll probably be on the road all weekend. Might not even get to go eat no Thanksgiving.
Oh man, you better wherever you going, tell them to make a plate for you or something.
Oh, they better have me a plate damn there when I get there.
Facts.
Word.
Well, all right, y'all. I'll catch y'all later then.
All right, Sean.
No doubt.
All right, Robert Lee. Yo, peace in the chat. Yo, share, like the video. Or get that out there, but we out here. Let me see.
Thank you for sharing this night. Thank you. God bless you.